In this video, we're going to be taking a look at multiplying by two-digit numbers. The essential question is, how do you multiply by two-digit numbers? Now, it is important to get out your math journal, your Go Math book, and your pencil as we go throughout this video, and turn your Go Math book to page 31. Now let's take a look at the problem that we're going to unlock on the top of page 31. It says a tiger can eat as much as 40 pounds of food at a time, but it may go for several days without eating anything. Suppose a Siberian tiger in the wild eats an average of 18 pounds of food per day. How much food will the tiger eat in 28 days if he eats that amount each day? Okay, now first of all, the thing that we're going to need to do is just estimate. We want to round to the number, to the greatest number of our factors. Okay, 28 could be rounded, will be rounded to 30. 18 will be rounded to 20. Okay, now what we do here is we multiply our basic fact. 3 times 2 is going to give me 6. And then what we can do is tack on the 2 zeros for an estimated answer of 600. Now our next step is multiplying by the ones. Okay, so in other words, we're going to take 28 and we're going to multiply it by 8. And we're going to do this together. So 8 times 8 is 64. Put my 4 here, carry my 6. 8 times 2, or it's actually 20 though. 8 times 20 is 160. Okay, but it's going to be 16 the way we'll write it, plus 6 is 22. So 28 times 8 ones is 224 ones. Let's write that right in your book. So we have that, and let's go to our next step. Is we're going to multiply. We have that 224. Let's write it down. Okay, that's called a partial product. It's part of our product, part of our answer. Okay. Now what we're going to do is multiply 28 times 110, because that 1 here actually represents a 10. It's not a 1, it's actually a 10. Why do we know that? Because it's in the tens place. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is put a 0 here, because we're multiplying it by 10. 1 times 8 is going to give me 8. 1 times 2 is going to give me 2. All right, so 28 times 1, 10 is going to give me 28 tens, or 280 ones. Okay, now the next step here, we have 224. We take our partial product, our two partial products, 224 plus 280. We add those two together. 4 and 0 gives me 4. 2 and 8 gives me 10. Put my 0 here. Carry my 1. 1 plus 2 gives me 5. Okay, so we add the partial products here. And we can see the answer is 504. So at the bottom of page 31, you're going to write, so on average, a Siberian tiger may eat 504 pounds of food in 28 days. Okay. Let's take a look at page 32. Keeping with the theme of the Siberian tiger, we're going to look at the example at the top. It says a Siberian tiger sleeps as much as 18 hours a day. Sounds very nice. May sound like some of your summers. Okay, so or 126 hours per week. About how many hours does a tiger sleep in a year? There are 52 weeks in 1 year. So the first thing we're going to do is estimate it. Okay, so it says in your book, think 100 times 50. Okay, we rounded that 126 to 100, rounded that 52 to 50. That's going to give us 5,000. Okay, so that's our estimated answer. Now we're going to work through the problem. The first step is we're going to take that 126 and multiply it by 2. But we're just going to break it down. We're going to take 2 times 6, 2 times 2, 2 times 1. Okay, now the 2 times 6 is going to give me 12. Put my 2 in my 1's place and carry my 110 over. 2 times 2 gives me 4, plus 1 gives me 5. Okay, 2 times 1, but it's actually, that 1 actually represents 100, so 2 times 100 is going to give me 200, but we'll just simply just write a 2 here. 2 times 1 gives me 2. So 126 times 2 ones equals 252 ones. That's what's called the partial product. We're not finished yet. We're going to keep on moving to step 3. Now what we need to do is multiply by the tens. So we already have 252 from our ones. Now we need to multiply by the tens. We're going to put a 0 down here before we start multiplying. Why are we doing that? Because that 5 is actually not a 5, that's actually a 50. Okay? So the 5, we're going to multiply that. 5 times 6 gives me 30. We put my 0, put a 0 in the tens place, carry the 3 over. 5 times 2 gives me 10. Plus 3 gives me 13. Put my 3 there. Carry the 1. 5 times 1 gives me 5. Plus 1 gives me 6 for 6,300. Okay, so 126 times 5 tens is 630 tens. Let's write that down. Or 6,300 ones. Okay, now the next step, what we need to do is add the partial products. Okay, so we had 126 times 2. We know that gave us 252. 126 times 50 gave us 6,300. So we add all the both partial products together. 2 and 0 gives me 2. 5 and 0 gives me 5. 2 plus 3 gives me 5, and we just bring the 6 down for 6,552 hours of sleep in 1 year. Okay, let's turn over to page 33. I'm going to model this just the way it is on page 33 for you, and then we'll move on from here. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at 64 times 43. Okay, actually what we're doing is first of all 64 times 3 and then 64 times 40. So I'll do red ink for the first step here. So 64 times 3, so 3 times 4 is going to give me 12. Put my 2 there, carry my 1. 3 times 6 is 18 plus 1 is 19. Okay, now I'm going to use blue ink for my next step. Now we're taking 64, and that 4 is actually representing a 40. Okay, so because of that, we're putting a 0 here. All right, now 4 times 4 is 16. Put my 6 in my tens place, carry my 1. Okay, so well, actuality, we were doing 40 times 4, giving me 160. Now what we will do is 6 times 4 gives me 24, plus 1 is 25. Now we add our partial products together. 2 and 0, use a different color ink for this. 2 and 0 will give me 2. 9 and 6 is 15. Put my 5 there, carry the 1. 1 plus 1 is 2, plus 5 is 7, and 2 right there for 2,752. Now if you ever need to refer back on how to do this, this is a good part of the video to go to see me modeling how to do 2 by 2 digits. Okay, you'll need to work this problem out in your math journal, okay, and then just write the answer in your workbook. 28 times 22. So work that problem out now. When you're finished, you can press play and I'll have the answer for you. So pause the video now. Okay, here's the answer for you, 616. Take a look at the steps that I took. Make sure they match yours. Make sure your estimated answer is just like mine as well. So let's take a look at another one, 295 times 51. I want you to work this problem out at your seat all by yourself. When you're finished, you can press play and I'll have the answer for you. So pause the video now. Okay, here's the answer for this problem, 15,045. The estimated answer should be 15,000. Make sure you check over your steps and make sure they match mine if it is incorrect. If it's also incorrect, you may want to rewind the video and show and go over the problem that I modeled for you. Okay, final problem I will have you do all by yourself in your math journal. For this section, 204 times 41. When you're finished with this problem, you can press play and I'll have the answer for you. So pause the video now. Okay, the answer here is 8,364. The estimated answer is 8,000. Check over your different steps, make sure they match mine. If not, you may need to rewind the video. Okay, final problem. I want you to take a look over the test prep problem. Try to say that 3 times fast. And work through this test prep problem all by yourself. When you're finished, you can press play and I will have the answer for you. So pause the video now. Okay, the answer for this problem is letter C. And make sure your answer is correct. If not, double check and make sure you see what you did wrong. And as we conclude the video, we're going to take a look at the essential question. How do you multiply 2-digit numbers? First, you multiply the first factor by the ones of the second factor and regroup as necessary. I multiply the first factor by the tens of the second factor and regroup as necessary. And then what you do finally is you add the 2 partial products together. So this concludes the video on multiplying by 2-digit numbers. If you have any questions about this concept, please come and see me.